Welcome back to my video. So today we're going to talk about databases on AWS. And as usual, we deal with hands-on. We're gonna be tackling our third tackle is gonna be a simple Flask CRUD API with an AWS EC2 plus RDS. While this hands-on implementation kindly focuses on RDS MySQL database for practical learning, this tackle will also cover key concepts like Amazon Aurora and caching strategies with Elastic Cache that are essential for the AWS Developer Associate exam that I'm actually taking. So let's dive into it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about RDS, which is a managed database service that handles heavy lifting of database administration. So you can choose to actually deploy or put your database on an EC2 instance and manage all the underlying things that requires in managing a database, or you can let the heavy lifting be done by AWS and your work is just to configure your database. So it contains multiple AZ deployments which automatic failover to a standby instance in a different availability zone to increase high availability. And then we also have read replicas for scalability and performance, whereby read operations by creating up to 15 read-only copies of your database. And then we have automated backups, and then we have engine support like MySQL, Postgres, MariaDB, Oracle, SQL Server, and Amazon Aurora. Then we have Amazon Aurora, whereby it's an AWS cloud native relational database built for cloud and is more for performance. Up to 5 times faster than MySQL and 3 times faster than PostgreSQL. And it automatically scales compute capacity based on demand, perfectly for intermittent or unpredictable workloads, and then span multiple AWS regions with low latency and disaster recoveries. And then we have the storage, whereby you don't need to be worried about the storage. It automatically grows from 10 GB to 128 GB with 6-way replication across 3 availability zones. And then we have the caching strategies. We have AWS has what we call Elastic Cache, whereby we implement caching to dramatically improve application performance. Redis, we have the Redis or Memcached. Memcached. So Redis for complex data structures and persistence, and then Memcached for simple key value caching. And then you have the caching patterns. The first one is the cache aside or what you call lazy loading pattern, whereby the application, the user first checks the cache, and then if there's a cache hit, the query is returned to the user. And if there's a cache miss, it goes to the database, gets the information, takes back to the user, and then writes the information to the cache. As you can see, a simple code, it checks the cache first, and then if there's a cache hit, whereby if the cache is available, the data is returned to the user. Otherwise, there's a cache miss. That means we get it from the database, and then after getting the database, taking it to the user, we then cache the data to the cache for next time usage. It only caches data that are actually requested and is simple to implement. But the cons are cache miss penalty, potential stale data, and kind of high latency. And then you have the write through pattern, whereby you write to cache and database simultaneously at the same time. You update the database first and then update the cache immediately after. Right? The pros are the cache is always consistent with database, and then the cons are write latency. Cache may contain unused data, right? And then the last part is the database security, whereby we have comprehensive security measures for database protection. One, encryption at rest. Two, encryption in transit, securing data moving between application and the database using SSL and TLS. VPC security, you are isolating database in private subnet with security groups controlling access. And then IAM database authentication, used instead of database password for enhanced security. Okay, so let's dive into our problem today and the use case we're going to go through. A growing e-commerce startup Tech Gadget Pro needs a simple custom management system. They need a simple CRUD operation, a cost-effective solution, easy to deploy and maintain. So our simple architecture is going to be the EC2 instance, whereby our app is going to be, and then it's going to access the RDS database and then get the information. So let's jump into the hands-on today. So as usual, the first thing I'm going to do is we are going to create the security groups first, right? Let's jump in and create the security groups quickly. Okay, the first one we call the tech gadget app for the instance. Secure for the instance, and then we add a rule. First of all, HTTP traffic over the internet, and then we add an SSH1. I'm gonna put my IP and then we create. Done. The security group has been created for the instance, and then we create the security group for the database. Tech gadgets, uh, gadget DB, right? Allow access to the database. Then we create an inbound rule whereby SQL, you only SQL traffic, but the user accesses the instance first, and then the instance is the one which is going to access the the database, right? So that's the security implementation. Then the next part is we're going to create an instance quickly, because this is something you see the topics are building up one by one. So let's create an instance. We call it tech gadget instance, and then some Linux, and then I'm gonna use a key pair that I have. Wait, key pair. Then I'm gonna select an existing user group, a security group for the app, and then I'm just gonna launch the instance as quickly as possible. Now that is that we have created the instance. Before we connect to the instance, let's go create our database, our RDS database. Let's create a database. So we call it, I'm gonna use my SQL, and then we're gonna call it, I'm gonna just use the free tier one. You can use the dev test one, whereby you have multi-AZ deployment. Then you also have multi-AZ DB instance deployment for 2 instances. But I am just gonna use the free tier one for now. I'm gonna call it tech gadget DB, and then admin, and then I'm gonna a simple password, and then I'm just going to use the bustable classes, T2, let me use the T3 micro, and then I'm just going to use a simple general purpose storage type, and then I'm not gonna connect to compute resource. I'm gonna the security, yes, public access. RDS assigns a public IP address to the database. That's one thing we need to remember, and then I'm gonna connect to our security group that we created for the database, and then you can choose to create a proxy which creates a kind of a connection pool whereby it reduces the load that actually is on your instance, DB instance. And then I'm just gonna just enable some logs export. Then that's it. That is that. Nothing much. I'm gonna create the database. So it's gonna take time to create. So we're gonna wait. I'm gonna pause the video and then I'm gonna come back once it's created. Good. The database has been created. Now we head to connect to our instance, right? So let's jump in and create and go connect to our EC2 instance. Remember how we did it? I'm gonna just go through it quickly. As you can see, the concepts are kind of building itself up. You find yourself that as the more you go, the more you tend to use the concept that you have actually. So we're gonna connect to our instance. We're gonna SSH into our instance. Okay, let's jump in. So remember, we are going to just directly connect to our instance in a minute, and then we SSH into our instance using the key pair that we have. Yes, I want to. Let's see, and there it is. We have connected to our instance. Let's go back to our repository. Now, as you can see, we're going to be able to do this. So the things, this is the Flask application code. Before we do anything, we're gonna go through the code and see. So as you can see, we have these environment variables. Now you can be able to see the first thing is we have our host, which you can be able to get it from your database on your database details right here. Database, then you can be able to get it right here. This is the host or the endpoint. And then the user is the admin, your password is the password that you got there, and then the database which you're going to create, you're going to see, and then the port is 3306 for MySQL. There are four routes here: the create, read, update, and delete. The create one just creates a user and inserts the user into the customer table, the name and the email. And then the read one is just reads the user using the ID. And the update one updates the user's email using the ID of the customer. And then the last one is the deleting by ID of the customer. So it's very simple. Now, the first thing which we're going to do is we're going to uh, you're going to install Python. Once you've installed Python, um, it's gonna be like this. We just gonna you can choose to get your code from the repo. I'm just gonna put it using an editor. Okay, nano app.py. Then I put my app there. Now that I've made sure my variables are okay, I'm gonna save this. Yes, and then that is that. We have our file. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we are going to create our database, and whereby how we're going to be able to do that, we're going to be able to do that by using this. So you can be able to see, we can choose, so you can be able to see. Now we need to add our database, right? To create our database. Now the appdb. Now in simple terms, you're just gonna do this: install MariaDB to our instance. It's gonna install. Apologies, lost my connection. So we are going to install MySQL, and then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to run this code to connect to our RDS SQL instance. Now you'll replace your endpoint with the actual endpoint, the endpoint with the actual RDS endpoint. So let's do that. No, not that one. Let's do that. Yeah, there it is with my endpoint, and then I'm gonna enter my password. Oh, it has failed. Let's see. Yes, it has connected him. I was putting in the wrong password. So what we're going to do is we're going to create our a database. For example, we have a simple for this one, simple query for creating our database. Let's do that. Just gonna paste that. It has been created. That is that. Now we have our database ready and set to go. So let's run our application now. Let's run our application now. Now, as you can see from here, we can be able to run our application. Oh, apologies for that. Done. Now that we have installed PyMySQL and also Flask, now we can be able to run our application. Oh, permission denied. I've closed. Issue was now I fixed the error. The issue was permission. Now we have now access to application. Now let's go to the last part, which is testing our API. Let's see how it actually works. Okay, cool. Now let's test our application. Now I'm going to replace this endpoint with this here with my IP address, the EC2 instance IP address. Good. Now let's see. The customer has been created. So we have already created Alice. Now let's also do the same and read get Alice, right? So we're gonna get Alice. Good. Let's get now Alice and see. Yes, we can be able to read Alice, which is the ID one. Good. We got into get to read ID, the customer ID one, which is Alice Johnson, and that's the email. So let's try and update Alice's details. We're going to go through. Now we've created Alice, customer called Alice. Can be able to read Alice from our database. Now let's update Alice's details to our database, right? Yes, the customer has been updated. Let's try and see. So previously Alice at example.com. Now we've updated alice.johnsons at newdomain.com. Let's get Alice's details and see if it has been updated. You can see Alice's detail has been updated on our database. And let's do the last part, which is delete Alice's detail, right? Let's delete Alice. Customer has been deleted. Now, in summary of what we've done is we were able to create our simple Flash application by doing what? The first thing we did, we created our security group, whereby this is for access purposes, whereby the user is going to access the instance, and then the instance is security group. That's where you can be able to access the database. So the database can only be accessed through the EC2 security group through the instance, right? Not the user cannot directly access the database. Then we created our instance, and then we created our database. After we created our database, we were able to SSH into our instance, and we were able to actually create our application, uh, to create our Flask application, put it there, configure our details. We were able to actually configure the details here. You can see, put the details here. I mean, I'm gonna change it. Of course, I'm gonna delete it for security purposes. But yeah, so and then after that, the last part we did after and then we were able to create a database inside our instance. We call it the AppDB, and then we were able to create customers, read the customer, update the customer, and delete the customer. So you can be able to expand this to even further, right? Can be able to create a big application, that a transaction application that has lots and lots of users. You can, for performance purposes, we recommend Amazon Aurora, but you can be able to also use RDS. So thank you very much for tuning in. I hope to see you again next time. Thank you.